The other day we reported on a pretty big rumor that the Nintendo Switch 2 will be able to be flipped upside down, and you can actually use the Joy-Con still with it upside down. And we were trying to figure out why in the world this would even be a function. Well, the fact that there is a USB port on the top and the bottom of this console could be the reasoning. Maybe you just want to customize how you plug it in or charge it as you play. And another thing we thought about is maybe it's just because of the headphone jack. Maybe the headphone jack, some people want it at the bottom, some people want it at the top when they're playing in handheld. It's just more of a customizable option, but this seems to be a function that's definitely coming. We even have firmware updates that show that the Joy-Con can go on inverted, which means with the console flipped 180 degrees. So that's pretty cool, but it didn't seem like anything super massive until we started getting even more leaks about what this could mean for Switch 2, which is super exciting. One thing that I really wanted with Switch was to be able to play DS games on Nintendo Switch Online, to have a whole DS section of games, and eventually even 3DS sounded so cool to me, where we could just like flip the console, and I always thought that this could be a thing, but now it's even more evident, but not the way I was thinking. Originally I was thinking we could just flip the screen in a vertical function and have some type of attachment where we could slap the Joy-Con on, and then we could play, DS games that way, which still is a really unique idea. But I kind of like this second idea better. Now, back in 2022, Nintendo was releasing and filing patents for a second screen to go on top of the Nintendo Switch. And this seemed to be some type of extra thing that we could actually snap on, like an accessory to a point. And apparently there's more leaks coming out now that we are indeed going to be getting some type of second screen on the Nintendo Switch system. Here we have a short rendered video from JarDog on Reddit actually showing what this could look like. And man, this is probably the first thing out of anything that we've heard about Switch 2 that actually gets me kind of excited. For the most part, it looks like it is just going to be a bigger and better Switch, which is awesome, but this changes everything. I mean, I still really want to be able to play DS games or 3DS games on my Switch, and that would be so much fun. And to have two giant screens now instead of the smaller ones from the DS would be awesome. This is starting to add up and make a lot of sense. If you look at the ports on the top and the bottom, you'll almost need to flip it because the top has the exhaust vents and it has a USB port right beside the headphone jack, which wouldn't make sense to add anything on top of that. So you have to flip it over because the bottom part actually has the USB and two little grooves beside it for some reason. Like, what would these grooves be for? To me, it's clearly like slots for something to attach onto it. So maybe that's exactly what we need to do, is flip the console so that way we have these grooves in this part of the USB at the top, and then we can add things on top of it. This is literally genius, and having a second screen could have so many options. I mean, dude, you could be able to, once again, play DS and maybe even 3DS games. I don't know how the 3DS part would work. Maybe the additional screen is able to play games in 3D, because for the 3DS, I mean, at the end of the day, the top screen was the only one that went into actual 3D. So that's all they would need to have, is like a little 3D depth slider for the top screen only. But being able to, have Switch Online DS games and 3DS games would be awesome. Or what if they even allowed us to just pop in our own DS games? What if there was like a slot that was able to register 3DS cards and DS cartridges as well? Either way, when we're putting Switch games in this way, it's already like you're putting it in the bottom of the console like the DS already. So that makes a lot of sense, and it's just starting to really click to me. I'm sure you'd be able to use the screen for other things as well instead of just DS and 3DS games. Imagine if you could actually use it as just a straight up second screen. While you do things on the bottom screen, you could do separate things on the top screen, or maybe you could have like a video or something playing on the bottom screen with the game that you're playing at the top screen, so you can like be a Gen Z and multitask, watching videos and playing video games. Something else that was being rumored a while ago was an additional camera or something that could be attached to the top, and I believe there was also patents for that. I can't find them right now, but there was definitely talk about it before. And that's something else that's shown off in this little rendered video, is flipping the console and using that bottom USB port that's now at the top in order to attach another accessory, which in this sense, it's a, IR camera or some type of, camera. I don't know what it would be for. Maybe it's something like the Wii, used for motion controls, or something else entirely. I don't know. Or maybe even just taking pictures. Who knows what Nintendo's got coming up their sleeves. they do corny things like that all the time, so I'm sure there's going to be tons of accessories that they release with this thing, and weird things that they actually do as well. Don't forget that even Nintendo discussed how the Nintendo Switch was just an accumulation of all things Nintendo, and there's a little bit of every other console in the Nintendo Switch, with the motion controls of the Wii, the portability of the DS, or what really feels like the Game Boy. But maybe Nintendo wants to push it even further with Switch 2 and add even more features to make it feel like those past consoles. Maybe there will be some type of Wii U screencast feature where we can actually use 2 screens this time around. Or maybe just like this patent, there's a new feature to allow a second screen. It seems like something Nintendo would do to really call back to those past consoles that they really haven't touched on yet. And the DS is one of them. I feel like the DS and the Wii U is the only ones that haven't had its true nature brought out on the Switch yet, so maybe that's what we're about to see. I want to go back to Virtual Console though, because Nintendo kind of teased some new things coming. They sent out a cheers to 3 years for a 3rd year anniversary of Switch Online and stated in a post, "We hope you've had a chance to enjoy revisiting or discovering classic games in the Nintendo 64, Game Boy Advance, and Sega Genesis libraries. Oh, and doing more in the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Animal Crossing New Horizons, and Splatoon 2 games with access to their paid DLC included." And then it states at the bottom, "What excitement will the next year bring for Nintendo Switch Online, plus expansion pack members? Stay tuned to find out." So kind of teasing that there's going to be a lot more added this year as well. A lot of people immediately go to GameCube. I get it. GameCube games are going to be huge, but to me, this could go alongside all these patents and rumors of a second screen coming to Switch 2, which could finally be DS and maybe even 3DS if we're lucky. I know the Wii U had Virtual Console and there was multiple different screen options, so maybe that's the same thing happening here, where if you can like turn the screen vertical, you could play it like that, or if you want to play with 2 screens on the Switch, or 1 screen on the Switch and the other screen on the TV, and like a cast mode would be really cool as well, just like the Wii U could. Any of those options would be great, but like I said, just having the option to have 3DS games too on there would be pretty daggone sweet. And you know Nintendo, they like to do little corny things that match with names and theming of their consoles. So what if Switch 2 and they had like this big thing in the advertisement means 2 Joy-Con and 2 screens, you know what I mean? Like, that's something that they would definitely push for advertisement. But I don't know, either way, it just excites me to the potential to actually be able to play DS games and 3DS games. I'm more, like I said, the 3DS side of things. Being able to play that would be pretty daggone awesome. But let me know in the comments down below what you think about all this. Do you think we're actually going to be able to play DS and 3DS games? Or what other functions would the second screen offer? Maybe it's like a Nintendo Labo thing where Nintendo has this like little gimmick game that they release with it and that you use the second screen for. Of course, games like Mario Party, WarioWare are definitely going to utilize that feature, but what else do you think it could be for, and do you believe this patent is even going to come into fruition in the first place? Thank you so much for tuning in, and make sure you leave a like and subscribe before you head out, and like always, I'll see you all on the next one. See you guys.